Hi, Scott Whitley here. Hope you're doing well and welcome to this brand new video. Over the past few days, I've been revisiting the double thumbing or double thumping style of bass playing made super popular by Victor Wooten. In this video, I'll show you how you can get started using this technique, and later on, I'll share my top 5 tips on how to get better quickly at this incredible style of bass playing. Roll the intro. That short video was just me warming up using the double thumbing technique that we're going to talk about in this lesson. Just before we go any further, if this is the first time we've met, my name's Scott Whitley and I regularly upload videos like this to help you improve your bass playing. So please subscribe and click on the bell icon to get notified whenever I make a new video. The double thumbing style of bass playing has actually been around quite a long time. From the late 60s through the 70s, Larry Graham was doing his stuff with it. He allegedly invented the technique. And then Marcus Miller developed his own way of using the technique, and he was using it throughout the 80s and obviously up to present day. But the guy that's really stretched this technique and brought it to the fore and is pretty much synonymous with this technique is, of course, Victor Wooten. If you haven't checked Victor Wooten out before, you've got to check him out. You've never seen anything like him. He's a phenomenon, you know. Enough about the history, let's look at how the technique actually works. With regular slap, if there is such a thing, what you get is you come in and you bounce off the string and you come back out. And what you get, if I aim for this open air here, you get this. So in slow motion, you've gone in, bounced off, and come out. And you get one note. With double thumbing, you get kind of 2 for the price of 1. So instead of coming straight in and out like this, right, you go diagonally. So that's sort of diagonally across, right, and you land on the string below. So in slow motion, if I can, you kind of hit the A, that's the one I'm aiming for, of course, glance off of it, and then land on the string below. And then what that allows you to do is catch the string on the way back and get another note. So let me try and demonstrate that. This is going to be the double thumb. All right. So you're getting 2 notes for the price of 1. In one kind of in and out motion, you're getting 2 notes. And in fact, Victor Wooten himself really got into this technique. His brother Reggie showed him how to do this, because he was struggling to kind of keep up with like Louis Johnson's bass lines and things like that. So let me show you that in a practical sense. If I put a drum rhythm on, right, if I just slap on the open air using the regular slap, like this, if I want to double that up, I've got to move my hand twice as fast. Right, let me go back to the original speed. And what I'm going to do is switch this up in a minute to double thumbing. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see that the right hand is still going like that, the same speed, but I'm getting twice the number of notes out of it. If you think about that logically, that's kind of instantly doubling your speed limit, if you like, the highest speed that you can play slap at. It's not quite as easy as that because you've got to get into the technique and stuff. But just to kind of demonstrate, if I play, right, which is like 8th notes, if I wanted to double that up to do 16ths using the regular slap technique, I'd have to double the speed of my hand, and that'd be like, I'm not really going to keep that up for very long. It doesn't feel under control at all. Whereas keep that going almost all day, you know? So you can look at that two ways. One is it's instantly going to double the speed that you can play. The other way to look at it is it's going to halve the effort required to play a given bass line. So from that point of view, it makes an awful lot of sense to at least have a go at getting into this technique. Now, that's just the start of what you can do with this technique. In a minute, I'll show you a whole bunch of different moves you can kind of make to get more and more notes out of that one in and out movement, okay? But even with just that, you can start to play scales and arpeggios. For example, you could play the major scale like this. All right, I'll go into more detail in just a minute on exactly how to do this technique. It's not quite as easy as it looks, and I have got a few tips I'm going to share at the end of the video that should really help. But just to say, this is just the tip of the iceberg as to where you can take this technique. So we've already got 2 notes for the price of 1. And in a minute, I'll show you a bunch of stuff where you can get 3 notes and 4 notes and even 5 notes from just one in and out motion. It's absolutely incredible what you can achieve with this technique once you get into it. But even with just the down and up motion, you can do an awful lot. For example, you could take your major scale and you could practice that going down and up on each note. You can use it like a plectrum, your thumb, and you can get kind of funky 16th kind of bass lines going down. So if you were playing something like, you could go. You know, that sort of stuff. So that's just using the thumb, not involving anything else at all. Let me now show you exactly how to do this technique. Now, of course, this is my own take on the technique. This is the way that I worked out how to do it. We're going to use the A string as our target to get started. As I said before, the aim is to play through the A string and land on the D and then catch the A string on the way back. Now, let's just start with the down bit or the in bit for now and not worry too much about the going out bit. What I really, really recommend you do is keep the A string open, and if you can, with this hand, kind of just mute the other strings. So basically, I've only got the A open. I'm muting the E with my thumb and the other 2 strings with those fingers. If you're struggling with that, just kind of have a go anyway, but that's what I'm doing, and it just makes it easy. So if you hit the other strings, you don't get too much noise, only the A. And what I recommend you now do is miss the A altogether and just do a slap motion, right, diagonally. So it's not in and out. You're kind of doing this is like exaggerated, but a diagonal motion, and land on the D and don't play. I know it sounds ridiculous. Don't play the A at all, right? So you just do this. Now you might hear the A kind of ringing away with what's called sympathetic vibration, but you don't want to be at this stage actually hitting the A. And then what you do, you basically keep doing that, and then slowly, I'm going to exaggerate this movement, slowly as you keep doing this, you move your hand up until just that little kind of, let me see, that kind of corner of your finger there, you know, just catches the A. And it needs the tiniest amount of force to actually get a note. So check it out. Here we go. I'm moving my hand up bit by bit. That was just caught it, so I want a little more than that. That was maybe too far. Now that's about right there. If I move my hand any further down like this, I'm going to miss it again. Up, up, up. There, catching it. And you want to keep just going up and down until you just find that sweet spot where you're just catching the A, just catching it, right? And the reason I do this, the reason I don't show you to just go ahead and whack the A string on it, is you want to be really clear for a start of this A string. You want to be really erring on the side of the D string and just catching the A, all right? So doing it that way, starting not hitting it at all, and then just gradually moving up until you catch the A. And then just experimenting and just fine-tuning it so you get it every time, all right? And you probably noticed when I was playing those scales, I was missing the odd one because I am revisiting this technique myself after a long time of not really using it at all. The reason being, in case you're interested, it's not that I don't like it or put it on the shelf, but the gig I've been doing for the past 5 years is playing with Big Country, which is playing with the plectrum pretty much most of the time. And the gig before that was playing 60s stuff, and it just kind of didn't, you know, like I was playing in the Animals, and it didn't really warrant that kind of technique. So once you get comfortable with that, once you get so that you can play consistently or pretty much consistently a note every time. One thing I should add, actually, is you don't need a lot of force to do this. It's not like regular slap where you have to fairly hit the thing. Because the hand is glancing past the string, you'll find that the notes pop out a lot louder. So it's only a tiny amount of movement you need. But once you get comfortable with that, then we want to look at doing the up. And this is the bit that feels just plain wrong if you've never done it before. If you look at that point where the nail kind of goes into the corner there and you've got this kind of cuticle thing, that's the bit that I use, if you can see that, to get just a little bit of purchase. If I go straight up, I can fairly pull that, and then I can pull out and it kind of pops, a bit like doing a pop, right? That's the only thing I can get any kind of purchase. The nail just slides off, you know, but that's the bit that works for me. All right, so basically do the opposite of what we did a minute ago. Don't worry about doing the down and up, just do the up. So get your thumb on the D string and just basically gently try and get some kind of grip on that A the best you can. Find the best point where you seem to be able to push it up and out. So it's sort of up and out. Up and out. So I'll show you this way. Up and out. So up and out. All right. So like almost like a rotational motion like that, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm kind of pushing the string and then coming out. All right. Once you get comfortable with doing that, then it's a case of trying to tie the two together. So you get this. Once you've started to get some consistency with that and it's starting to feel comfortable, then you can apply it, as I said before, to major scales, minor, any scale at all, actually, arpeggios, you know, bass lines. You can try and do 16th type things, you know. You know, just have fun with it. Play anything and everything that you can already play using your fingers or whatever other technique you normally use, and try and apply this technique to it. Some stuff works really well. Some things are really, really hard to do. And those harder things, still have a go at it because it'll really, really push you to get better at this technique. Like I said earlier, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and you can do so much more with this technique. I'm just going to quickly demonstrate a few moves you can make to get even more notes out of that down and up motion. I won't go into a lot of detail on this, but just kind of give you a bit of an overview. The first thing you can do is simply add a pull on the way up. So I'm going to use the note D to show you this example. Using the double thumbing, you'd get this. 2 notes in from one down and up or in and out motion. And now I'm going to add a pull. 3 notes. So let me play that in a loop. All right, so you get that kind of triplets thing. You could use that two ways. You could use it as 16ths. Let me just show you with a drum machine. Or you could use them as triplets. So that's like a really incredibly versatile little thing. And again, just from one down and up motion, you're getting 3 notes. So that's like 3 for the price of 1. I'm now going to show you another way you can get 3 notes from just one down and up motion. And what we're going to do, we're still going to play a D, but for this example, we're going to start with an open A, and we're going to slap the open A and go through onto the D, right, as if we're going to do a double thumb. Stay there, hammer on to the D, the 5th fret on the A string. That's from the open A to the 5th, and then catch it on the way up. So check it out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, I haven't practiced this one very much this time round, but let me give it a go. I'll try and do the 16th thing. That was okay. I'm going to try and do the triplets now. Don't hold your breath. Haven't practiced this one very much, but just to show you it is possible. So a bit rough there, but like I say, that's an area I haven't practiced very much with this technique this time round. Now let me show you how you can extend that, actually, and get 4 notes from one down and up motion. So we start the same. We start with an open A. This is basically D we're playing, by the way. Start with an open A. We slap. Stay on the D string. Hammer on. I'm hammering on with my first finger here. And then I'm going to do an up. So that's 3 notes. All right. And then I'm going to do a pull. So that's 4 notes with just one down and up or in and out motion. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, you can play 16ths doing that. Let me try that now. Kind of like juggling, you know. It's you like think you're gonna drop it, and then you can go even further, and you could get 5 notes in one in and out motion. We'll do exactly what we just did. So that's open A, hammer on, up, pull on the octave, and then do another pull. So that'll give you. If you really worked at that, you could get that cooking over the 16s. That'd get this kind of mad cycle thing going on because you're playing 5s over the 16. The possibilities are kind of endless. You can then take those exact techniques and simply apply them to different pairs of notes, different pairs of strings, or even single strings. So I can play things like this. That was just like going up an E major scale. Doing the sort of open, hammer, up, and then pull so that was all on the D string with the thumb, and then just put in thirds. That's a major third. You know, and you can do like single strings. You know, this is quite hard actually to do. Say if I pick that D string, you can play, you know. That's just on the one string. The possibilities are almost endless, especially when you start bringing that kind of open hammer thing into it. And it's definitely the secret behind a lot of that kind of almost classical sounding stuff that Wooten plays. Now, as promised, here are my top 5 tips for getting good at this technique as fast as possible. Number 1, practice very slowly and lots of it. I can't emphasize this enough. You've got to start slowly. When you start off just doing the down and up, you want to be practicing at the fastest, that kind of speed. And you want to be really listening to the tone of the down, the tone of the up, the volume of each, evening them out as you go. And once you get comfortable with that, only then increase your speed very slightly. Always play with the drum machine, by the way. And then once you get into the more advanced stuff, like this, again, you want to be able to do that really slowly, so that each beat is absolutely bang on with your drum machine. And then when you get on to doing the open hammer stuff, again, you want to be able to play it at those slow speeds and it sounds super accurate, like a great bass line at that speed. Number 2, focus on using the absolute minimum amount of energy and movement. This technique actually works much better with a light touch, and that's even more true when you get towards the open A and E strings. Playing fretted notes around this area of the neck is actually much easier than playing the open strings. And again, the lighter you go, the easier it's going to be. Number 3, just pick one idea at a time and work on it until you've maxed it out. So for example, if you're working on your major scale, going down and up, just work on that at various tempos, starting really, really slow and speeding up until you find that kind of max tempo and you can't go any faster. So what I mean is, don't flip between that and playing something else and this, that, and the other. Just focus on that one thing at once. And when you feel on a particular day of practice you've maxed it out, leave that alone and then choose another exercise to work on. Number 4, try to play anything and everything that you already know using these techniques. Some things are going to work really well, other things are going to be almost impossible to do. But the point here is to just try and play everything that you can already play using one or more of these different combinations of techniques. And finally, number 5, be patient. Again, I can't stress this one enough. This is not a technique that's going to fall under your fingers overnight. It took a long time for this technique to feel even remotely natural to me, but eventually it did, and it will do with you too. And it will allow you, as it does me, to play things I could never have imagined playing without learning this technique. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.